I'm committed to civil rights. I tell you, I've gone to Washington, D.C. on more marches over the last 40 years than I can really remember. But there's a march for justice, I'm there. I'm going to go. I'm going to be part of it. If it's going to be one nation, let's tell it all. Good, the bad, the ugly. Constitution says separate but equal. These schools was not equal. When you're small town USA, especially in the South, the school board didn't care whether the black kids walked to school or not. They didn't care that they didn't provide a high school for the majority of the county. So that situation existed back in my hometown. So our fight was against those folks who control the school board. All these cases were forming into the same thing, denying black children equal access to education. With the help of the NAACP came on board, they needed 20 people in that community that was going to withstand the reprisal that would come, and my parents was one of those top signatures that held their name on that petition. And there's a price to pay when you go up against a system, especially in the South. I mean, they control the bank, they control the school board, they control the finances, they control everything about that small town. The reverend that spearheaded our case in South Carolina, his name is Reverend J. Delane. He lived 100 yards from us. They burned it, woke up that morning, his house was burnt down. The power of the AME church moved him from out of our district. They obviously followed him there, and they burned his church down. Now, it's reported that when they came for him, he had the Bible in one hand, then he had the pistol in the other hand. The deal was, I'll try the Bible on these folks. If the Bible don't work, then he fired back at them. And for that, he had to leave South Carolina on trumped-up charges. So there's a price to pay when you stand up for your rights and when you're poor. My mother worked as a maid in a hotel. She got fired from her job. My godmother, Zanny Gibson, got fired from her job. The workers in the cafeteria where they fed the kids, if your name on that petition, they got fired from their jobs. My father worked at a gas station in the beginning. He got fired from that job because his name was Harry Briggs Sr. And they signed a petition in 1947. So this struggle, when you go to court, you're in court for a long time for fighting for your rights. So in 1957, he moved to Miami, sent money back to us. And for me, as a 9-year-old, that's when my family started to come apart. The case known as Briggs versus Elliott, Elliott was the school superintendent. These cases combined with the 4 cases that make up Brown versus the Board of Education. Thurgood Marshall was our attorney in South Carolina. This fight was on trying to equalize schools in this country for everybody. Southern whites began to retaliate. So these defiant of Brown were saying that, I don't care what the Supreme Court said, we Southerners will not at any cost integrate these schools. Changes are slow. The school that was fought, they really never did integrate it. They played a game, but it allowed this white Christian community to develop their own private school, and it's there now. Put some few blacks in there to make it sound like we did a good job at integration, but that's the forest as far as I'm concerned. But I give the NAACP a lot of credit because they, for 111 years, they're the organization that's been around, still around, to fight a cause that's just and real. And I committed myself to being part of that legacy and my children. I served 9 months in Kansas, Fort Leavenworth, and a year in Vietnam. About 6 months there, I began to notice that on some of the tanks that rolled down US Route 1, they had Confederate flags on them here in Vietnam. Some of the quarters that we slept in, they called them hoochies at the time, the young white guys had Confederate flags. So I took my M16 and walked through the hooches and snatched them all down. At nighttime, we sat outside and put some diesel gas and burned them up. But I was not going to allow that to happen on my watch. I came home and spent about a year in civilian life and joined New Jersey National Guards. I did 13 years in New Jersey National Guard. So I did 15 years total time, and after that I just walked away from it, had enough. Well, for me, I'm committed to the NAACP. My parents was charter members of the branch in Clarendon County, and I got involved with the NAACP knowing that I have to give something back. So I've been committed to here in Bergen County for a very long time, and I'm committed to doing whatever I can while my time allows me to do that.